Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to the CeraWeek community worldwide. My name is Nirmal Shani. I am the head of the Asia Pacific region for CeraWeek. I am joined today by Anand, and we are going to be talking a little bit about his leadership vision in light of what's emerging as a strong rebound year out of the COVID-19 pandemic. Welcome, Anand.
Thank you so much, Nibble, and it's a great pleasure to be here along with you. And wow, what a year! It's been more than 12 months since we last met. A lot has happened in the world, and delighted to catch up on those.
Right, Anand. So let me start by the question which is probably on every delegate's mind. This pandemic has actually changed the lives for most people, communities, companies. What have been some of those lessons learned for you as an individual, as a CEO, as well as for your organization as Nayara Energy, from the pandemic? It'll be great if you can share it for the benefit of our audience.
So, well, Nirmal, one of the key learnings for us over the last 12 months during this COVID phase is that, while we may have large assets, physical assets, but the most precious are people as your key assets. As we all know, COVID impacts people. And the first and foremost for us, we had to ensure that everyone was safe. So we took all possible safety protocols, stepped up our communication to make sure that people understood how they need to deal with this pandemic. Clearly, this pandemic affected the lives and livelihood. So for us, it was extremely important that we develop the right form of medical infrastructure care for all our employees. And this time around was not just the employees, we actually entered into their homes with the entire household, given the contagion. So, so that's something which we focused a lot towards in terms of, that was a big learning of how you manage this. And through that, there are very, very strong emotional connects you build with all your employees as well. And you got great payback. As we all know that ours is an essential services industry, and very clearly, we are expected to perform during these very difficult times. So each of our front workers were there on the field trying to sell fuel in the fuel stations. We ensured none of our fuel stations were dry, considering that we have more than 5,600 fuel stations spread across the country. Our refinery, despite the challenges and the contracted demand scenario, ensured it operated close to about 90%, which means most of our people were working from there. During these most difficult times, we managed to do a small turnaround, where you had more than 10,000 workers coming in from across the places. So we followed all the safety protocols and kind of managed that seamlessly. So these are the huge efforts that we got back from our people while we took care and kept investing in them. The other important learning which came through and which came to a great advantage for us is that digitization is no longer a luxury word. It is a necessity. Digitization is the way how you will future-proof your work processes. For us, the investments that we had done, be it into our EPS planning and scheduling, be it into our refinery, be it into our marketing through automations, paid off brilliantly. So we managed to do a lot of work during this course when everyone was working from home and nobody was meeting each other. And otherwise, for an industry where we used to consume gazillions of paper and printers, everything was happening on a digital space. Even signatures were digital. So that's a big learning, and that's something we'll take into account as we go forward. The one aspect which we very humbly got to learn is around the mental health. We always are very concerned around the physical health of our employees, but we begin to realize that pandemics like this, mental health is equally very important. So a lot of counseling required to be done. It's very logical in a scenario where you're only seeing dark things around you. People do get into anxiety, depressions. So a lot of counseling work required to be done, which our teams did brilliantly. Because to make sure that people are well motivated, because this pandemic was about a substantial change in the lifestyles, and how to kind of manage and cope that was integral to the pursuit forward. What we take back eventually now through this work from home is that probably we will have to live in a hybrid world of working, where everyone can't come together all the time. But work from home brought such great virtues of efficiencies and productivity and ease of doing work for many people. But of course, that doesn't take away the romance or the energy that you get out of people meeting together, like in my case, this opportunity of being with you. So I believe hybrid is a way forward as far as a work style is concerned, where we will have functionalities which probably don't require to come to work every time, and those which can work, which need to kind of work, coming to work to develop the kind of connectivity that they have. I believe hybrid is a way moving forward as far as the working style is concerned.
Yes, Anand, I think very well articulated. Your point, especially about being the softer aspects of people, being the strongest learning, absolutely makes a lot of sense. Let me now come to my second question for you. This is about challenges. What do you think are the challenges that are faced by our energy industry or the energy community over the next 5 years?
I think for the energy industry, one of the big challenges will be the overhang of what has not happened over the course of the last 2 years. Clearly, the paucity of investments into the downstream space specifically may bring in some kind of changes in the demand supply dynamics. Equally more so around the upstream. While we have managed the market so far through OPEC cuts and by reducing wells, but then also we also have challenges around some of the sanctioned countries where they need substantial amount of investments for them to come back to the level of production where they were before, 3 years before. So I truly see this industry has been underinvested for a period of time. I don't really see that the so-called bet on the alternate energies will reach the kind of scale that is expected of them, and result of which we will genuinely start seeing some supply gaps. Because when the world goes back to its normal behavior, clearly demand will remain robust for energy. And in that packet, clearly the fact that our industry is underinvested is something I worry a bit about, because that's where we will start, the positive investment may start hurting. So that's where that I see is a big challenge, of how you manage the demand which will come through for you. The related part which we have been speaking for over the last 1 year as well, besides managing COVID, the demand destructions, has been the fact that there has been a huge conscious move towards how we manage and combat the climate change. There are energy transitions, there is carbon management, which everyone is very focused about. So how carbon is managed, and again out there, how you manage the scales and how you manage the cost of those carbon captures will become a very interesting challenge for the entire industry to look at. There are some very interesting initiatives being taken by the sectors. There is general awareness amongst all the leaders as far as the refinery companies are concerned, oil companies are concerned as such. We are trying to capture the carbon in whichever form we can, or we are looking at offset technologies. Capture still remains a very expensive source in certain elements, but how that gets done within the the costs, permitted cost, will be the interesting stuff. And then of course the general challenge then would be who pays for the cost of the entire environment and carbon management. The third is very interesting challenge, because if we are speaking that this is a world where transitions is going to happen a lot, and we have seen across many other sectors where whenever transition happens, it also brings in redundancy when it comes to skills. So how soon does the industry step up to kind of bridge that skill gap will be a very interesting thing to see. We have the talent pool, but the talent pool needs to be kind of harnessed and grown further, because in general most of the new age sector seems to be attracting most of the exciting talent pool. How to win that back into this industry which has been there for over a century, and it's going through an exciting transition, will be becoming a very exciting part to see that how we manage the skill gaps by absorbing more and more technologies, understanding the digitization, the Internet of Things, the artificial intelligence, the machine learnings, and all those new skills, and how do we kind of look for the transformation and transition which this sector is going towards, is where I think a few elements which I would like to illustrate as core challenges.
Indeed, Anand. I think your points about the lack of investment over the last 1 year and also the fact that climate change needs to be imbibed into all the practices that we follow are very pertinent. Moving on to the third question which I had for you, this is more about, your leadership message as such for our CeraVe community. What would be the key message or the key messages that you'd like to share?
Thank you, Nirmal. I think my answer will border around the energy resilience. Energy is something which will be very much integral part of whatever lifestyle and however the lifestyle changes over the course of the next 20, 30 years. And within the energy, I'm sure that fossil will still have loads of steam for further growth. Now, I do understand there will be multiple pathways to achieve the energy aspiration of the world. Very clearly, what I can see as trends is that responsible energy with a lot of care towards the sustainable development are the ones which will prevail and maybe even trade at a premium. So good practices of how energy is used, how energy is produced will definitely get a good value. Now, the other core element for the journey forward will be banked on transitions and innovations. This sector, energy as such, and within the energy, the established energy players will have to embrace innovations. There will be constant changes in technologies. There will be constant kind of checkpoints, check grids around what's gonna be transforming into a different form. So that's what I believe will be the journey forward for our industry, and those who brace up to the change will eventually be the winners.
Well, thank you, Anand, and that's a great wrap to our Leadership Vision Dialogue with B. Anand, CEO of Nayara Energy, emphasizing that energy resilience is the key message that he'd like to share with our CeraVe community.